Okay, if you're watching this, then you're up to the evaluation of your IB Geography internal assessment. So congratulations, because you're nearly done. All right, this is worth 3 of the 25 marks for your IB internal assessment. All right, so you would have done the 4 sections before this: introduction, methodology, data analysis and presentation, and the conclusion. So this is pretty much one of the last sections. You'll obviously have your work cited and your appendix to go. Now for me, I think you should have 3 clear headings here. This will help you structure and maybe guide you on how you could get the 3 marks potentially. So the strengths of your study in terms of the methods of data collection, the limitations perhaps, and suggested improvements as you go through this. Okay, if you have a look here, the evaluation, right, can look at a pilot study. So if you did a pilot study, so remember that's what you do before you go out and you collect your data for real, all right? So that helps you ensure things are uniform. If you're using a Likert scale or a scale that involves something which is perception-based or subjective, right, and you want to turn something that is qualitative into quantitative, then you can comment on the success of this and maybe how necessary it was, all right? Okay, then you can have a limitation here, all right? This could be due to one of the sites that you visited. This could be due to the number of sites that you visited, for example, all right? So you could lay it out like this. Okay, so when we did a study here, we looked at an urban heat island effect in Singapore. The study has gone from this site here to the blue dot here. So it just went in the east of Singapore, wasn't a whole transect. So this student here is proposing 8 additional sites and that we move and we cover the west of Singapore as well, all right? So that makes sense. So that's looking at a limitation, but it's also looking at a suggestion and how we can improve this in future, all right? You could talk about going different times of the year, if it is to do with a climate study or microclimate, days of the week, hours of the day, because things are always different, from traffic patterns, levels of congestion. It might be wet, there could be an accident, there could be a hold up, all right? So I can justify, but also I could then suggest what I might want to do, all right? So if I move further on, I can go down to a river study, all right? Same thing, things that work well. Okay, so these students here are looking at the wetted perimeter. They're talking about how they used a tape measure. Possibly a limitation of that would be that it floats, all right, and it needs many people to stand on it. Now, this is okay if you're in a very shallow, narrow river, but if it gets a lot deeper, it's quite hard to see. You need more people, and you could suggest potentially using a chain, all right? So again, if I'm looking at a river study and I've gone to various sites, so site 1 here, site 2, site 4 might be here. So I've missed out a lot of the middle course here and maybe potentially not enough of the lower course. So I could suggest additional sites along a particular river. So this student here said if we were to do it again, these are extra sites that they would put in, and then you can discuss why, all right? So these are the types of things that you could do. So what we did, what worked well, right, and what potentially I could do in future. Same thing if I was talking about velocity and I was collecting only 1 recording, so measurement 2 on this graph here or cross-section here potentially could have been the only one that you have done in your school. So you might suggest that, all right, we do one from the left and we do one from the right, and the reason that I suggest that we do this is quite often velocity varies depending on whether it's a symmetrical or an asymmetrical part of the river channel. So there's a range of things that you could put in here and why, right? So state what was a limitation, what you think you can do, and how it might affect the outcome of your study. Okay, all the best.